Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in on the north corner of the map, playing in red, we've got Avely playing as the Japanese. And its opponent in the southeast playing in blue, we've got Leozim playing as the Rus. Welcome everyone to highview. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hopefully you are having a fantastic day. And we're going to be seeing a cracking game today. I feel it in my bones. The Japanese versus the Rus. Two very strong civilizations, I should say, plural. But the Rus, of course, have been known to be very strong. Very popular as well on most maps. I mean, they can play pretty much any map they've got. I mean, it's just such a great civilization all around. The Japanese have come to us new with the Sultan's Ascent DLC, but it's a civilization that have had, they've had some strong moments in Age of Empires 4. I've got to say, with some great games we've witnessed in the past, and hopefully we'll see one today. A civilization that can often focus very much on the castle age to pick up those relics quickly and then start to really pump out units very fast. Courtesy of the Yorishiro from the Golden Gate landmark, is something that does increase greatly the production speed of their buildings. They can start to get some premium units in the form of the mounted samurai, possibly even regular samurai. There will be a bit of a mini game here, looking to get some of the deer and the bounty off the map. There are two wolves on the side of the map as well, something that both players might look to challenge. Now on the Rus side of things, I gotta say, this matchup is intriguing. The reason why is because the Japanese, similar to some other civilizations in the Sultan's Ascent DLC, do focus a bit more on the castle age, like getting there quickly, pick up relics, and then possibly adding in second town centers afterwards. The Ayyubids typically do the same sort of formula, and sometimes the Jushi legacy as well, and quite often the Byzantines. But why this is kind of interesting as a matchup is because the Rus is a civilization that often does opt for an early second town center in the feudal age, and then they can get a pretty decent castle age timing as well. Having said that, I guess it really depends who wants to take the initiative. If we do see the Japanese opt for a fast castle straight up without a second town center, we might start to see the Rus adapt and stick with one town center to get a second, or get a good challenging fast castle time themselves and get those warrior monks. We have to see who bites the bullet, who looks to be greedy with the second town center if at all, or who looks to go for the castle age. Quite a few permutations actually on this matchup. What's kind of cool is that both civilizations can play in a similar way. And so whilst there's flexibility, you might just see the Japanese opening with two town centers in the feudal. Equally, you might see the Rus doing it. You might see both doing it. You might see neither doing it. And that's the kind of cool thing about this matchup. You never really know what you're going to get. What we do know is what we're going to get is in terms of landmarks, of course. The Kremlin is an obvious choice for the Rus, and the Kira Storehouse an obvious choice for the Japanese. And it will be the Kira Storehouse. For the Japanese, of course, just getting confirmation of that. And they're looking to challenge for the walls now. Oh, that scout was awfully low on HP. How's it going, Makomi on Twitch chat? Hope you're doing well, buddy. And if you're thinking of what I'm talking about on YouTube, as you probably know by now, I do live stream on Twitch. And I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If I can ask cheekily, as I usually do on YouTube, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you do drop a comment in the comment section below. Maybe your favorite emoji really helps me out. Just going to try and get the last hit here, Avely, and sneakily take down the wolf to deny the bounty, I reckon. Will he get it or not? Oh, it doesn't quite get it. It's a bit tricky, though, when there's two scouts from the enemy doing it. Alright, interesting. Looks like Avely's looking to go for gold now. Bear in mind, it almost feels like he is going for that. I mean, he could potentially be going for the Daimyo Manor upgrade for the town center, but he might equally be going for a second town center. Remains to be seen, because whilst he doesn't look like he's actively mining stone at the moment, don't be fooled by that. When he does mine gold, he does get a trickle of stone at the same time. I guess the telltale sign will be whether he continues to pump villagers on wood to get the second town center or not. We'll have to see. Either way, on the Rus side of things, he's opting for 7 villagers on stone, so certainly going to be a second town center play for the Rus. Oh, he managed to deny the bounty there, Avely. Nicely done. question is, where does he place the second town center? I think it makes a lot of sense to place it here, actually, next to the Kremlin on the deer camp and the gold. We'll have to see, because we are seeing a lot of players placing the second town center a little bit closer to home because of how vulnerable it can be. Alright, we're going to find out very soon what the Japanese are up to. The great thing about the Curious Storehouse, by the way, when it's placed like this, he will be gathering wood easily as a drop-off point, of course. And with the bits that are blocked up, when he does work his way around with the farms, with the Curious Storehouse, it will be generating wood. So don't be worried about this. You might be thinking, why would you place a Curious Storehouse when you can't get farms? It's been blocked off by the stable. Well, you'll be getting wood from it. Yeah, and he's going to place the second town center on the deer camp, on the other side of that gold vein. How's it going, Brit Boy? Welcome on in. And he did actually go for the Daimyo Manor, which is a bit of a weird situation, right? Because he had the stone a long time ago. I wonder if he's really min-maxed the build and he wanted a certain number of villages before he got it. It's quite potential. I mean, ultimately, you do... like, I mean, he wasn't really on farms, to be fair. So the biggest bonus you get from it is the farms, although you do get, you know, the extra villager, extra free villager from it. So, curious one. Maybe he thought about a second town center and maybe changed his mind. It's actually kind of fluid build, actually. You can make a choice on that, can't you? You can think about, you know, do you want the Diamond Manor? Do you want a second town center? And the decision point, only thing you have to do is change the wood income. Bro, yeah, absolutely. Vietnamese has been an interesting modded civilization for sure. We've casted a couple of games, and if you're wondering where they are on YouTube, there's a couple of them recently. So it's worth checking out if it's something that tickles your fancy. Now, with things being quite quiet, it looks like both players might be opting for the Castle Age soon. At least the Rus are very close to it. This is something they do so well, right? Kind of curious though, he didn't actually opt for an early wheelbarrow. He omitted that. Avely coming with the abandonment, might snipe out one, but he gets the charge on in, but Richard manages to run away. And the question is, how much value is Avely going to be able to get with this? I hope he doesn't overcommit, actually, because I'm not so sure how much... Okay, he's actually getting quite a few horsemen queued up. I'm not so sure about this, right? The Rus are often very hard to push because of the fact that they can always get the Kremlin Gremlins. And the TC is in a decent spot. I mean... Granted, it is kind of in the stealth forest, so you might see the horseman come in a bit late, but maybe even not. I think it's probably the only thing. I'm clutching at straws to find a thing that works for him with the horseman here. And the biggest thing about it is it's going to delay his castle age, and that allows the Rus now to pick up the relics. So the timing-wise, this could hurt him quite a bit, Avely. Going to deny the walls up around the back, just to be a bit of a pain. Yeah, and it continues to pump. I mean, granted, with the free farming transition, he will keep up somewhat. This is the scout there, though, Avely. Look at this. High trade house already starting to be built. And, I mean, that's something that Avely will know about, at least. So we'll have some knowledge of it. Wait. This is awkward for Leozim. Like, he might lose a couple of villages. I mean, to be fair, it's in range of the Kremlin. That's not helping. He does get the Kremlin Gremlins to help out there. Villagers fighting off as well. And I think maybe he tries to snipe a couple of villages, but obviously he can't hang out too much. I mean, the placement's not too bad as I once thought it was, because it is in range of the TC and the Kremlin. Only just, but it works out well for him in the end. It was delayed a little bit. And yeah, the Kremlin's just in range, which is actually really handy for him, I gotta say, because if it wasn't, it would be a different story. And the Gremlins will help out here for sure. Horsemen are all but gone. He's going to snipe one villager at least. He's got 4 in total, to be fair. So not too terrible. Horsemen have done some work here. But, you know, being a 1 TC, it feels like he has to do some damage. He's going for the floating gate landmark really quickly. He's going to try and catch up. He really wants that time in pick up relics, and it matters a lot. If the game does go late game, that could be a big deal. It's not going to be too far behind, actually, considering how many villages he's invested. But of course, it's going to hurt his economy somewhat. But the great thing about the Japanese, the free farmed transition with the curate storehouse, the reason why it helps so much is because the Rus do typically have a hard farming transition at times. I mean, certainly having the high trade house helps in this regard because he does have the deer coming on in. And so going to get a wooden fortress just to protect the area a little bit more, but also maybe to... I think that's the main thing, really. But certainly, the Rus can have a hard transition to farms at some point, so there might be a period of time where the Rus can't really maximize or really pump out units, and that's maybe a time where the Japanese take advantage of it. Especially with the floating gate landmark, they will start pumping out units if the Yorishiro do go in the production buildings. So far, though, it looks like Yorishiro, where is it going? Is it going to go in the town centre? Maybe the stable, quite possibly. It's going to get some mounted samurai added into the mix. And he will be going for the stable. Like, you can see the big difference here. Usually takes 35 seconds, now shrinks it down to 12. This stable is going to be pumping out units. And there's the monastery, getting the first warrior monk queued on up. In fact, yeah, that's the first one queued up. Oh, villagers moving out. Wait, Leozim spots that, but I don't think it's really got anything to do with it. Can't really deny it at this point. Now the issue for the Japanese is that they have to do damage, right? He's not added in a second town center. Has stone for it potentially, but he might just be looking to upgrade the daimyo mana further on. Big 1 TC means that the eco is going to scale really nicely for the Rus. He's adding in a second stable as well. I think considering the better economy, despite the mounted samurai being a great unit for the Japanese, I think if he just gets numbers wise, he might win the fight just by sheer numbers, the Rus. So something that the Japanese has to be cognizant of. Does he opt for the daimyo upgrade or does he look for a second town center? And I think after contesting the relics, it might need to be a second town center just to keep on up. Warrior monk venturing on the field has already picked up one, but the good thing for the Japanese with the sheer number of units he's got, he could potentially have control of all the other 4 relics. That could be a big deal. I think he just needs to send a Shinto priest for this one if he can. Going to take the engagement, peels away the Umabannerman, which wasn't the weak unit there actually. I think he may have pulled away the wrong unit. That little bit of micro. Going to charge in on one of the knights. Here come the militia. This is a fight that he can no longer take here. Avely backs away. And he will be backing away with that Shinto priest carrying the relic. That's quite critical. The knights may change chase though, so he's not really out of this. The great thing though in highview, the stealth forest, means it's a little bit more tricky for the knights to get the full vision. But he's going to chase and try and snipe it. Well, no. No, Leozim, back away. He does back away, thankfully. Better try and body block and try and get the relic as close to home as possible, but it won't want to engage too much here with the knights. Would he trade? I don't think he does. Like, I mean, it's okay to lose the Shinto priest at this point. He's brought the relic home so much. So much further on his side of the map now. And he's got to wait for those militia to die. Not much more of a life on them. He's going to take the trade now, though, with the defender's advantage, and he should take it. And he should win it pretty quickly. This is a nice fight here for the Japanese for sure, and he's going to escape with some really good relic numbers. Picked up 2 already, and the other 2, one is right in the corner of the north and the other on the west side of the map. A little bit easier to pick up, although the warrior monk might just pick this one on the west side. Nice pick off by the Rus. So it looks like it might be a 3-2 relic game overall. The trouble is for Avely is what he has sacrificed for the extra relic is a big deal. He sacrificed a good 20 villagers or 16 villagers. I think at this point, Avely has to really seriously consider getting that second town centre. It looks like instead, he's going to wait for the Daimyo Palace upgrade. And whilst the military numbers are equal now, that won't be staying the same for too long for the Rus, and they will start to scale very nicely. Having said that, And this is the time where the Rus are starting to need their farming transition. But with the great wood economy boosted up by the Kremlin, boosted up by double broadaxe, there's plenty of wood going to be coming in to supply the resources needed for those farms. Mounted Samurai going around the back, looking to potentially get some raiding damage out here. Picks up a little bit more of a bounty, the Rus. And looking to get trade nice and early. That's kind of curious, it's very early, 16 minutes on the clock, and it's a bit of a tricky one, right? Because the Japanese do actually have a decent amount of mobility with the Mounted Samurai, and it's going to really double down on his economy with the trade route. Wallow maybe? No, doesn't look like it. He's going to lose the Shinto priest, won't make it into... Yeah, loses it, I'm afraid. He's opting for some Onimusha, which would be a nice counter to the night raiding units there at the back. He's going to take the Sacred Site on the west side, but the Mounted Samurai, they do a job of raiding for sure. They'll dive on in. Having said that though, with crossbows numbers looking pretty decent for the Rus, I don't think these Mounted Samurai are going to get too much more joy out of this. And he's going to back away. Right choice really. He needs a couple more, well, maybe a couple of different units. Onimusha might be hard countered by crossbows as well, so he might need to think about an alternative. He could potentially add in some horsemen actually. That's always an option for him, but he's going to lose a couple of Mounted Samurai on the retreat. Lost one at least. Looks like the trade going to be up and running soon. Avely did get the Daimyo Palace. He's upgraded it even further, so we'll be getting an additional 50% gather rate on these farms, which would be pretty hefty. That food income should rise very quickly. He's now looking to get double broadaxe. Not much in the way of upgrades though, eco upgrades for the Japanese for now. Well, as I say that though, I'll take it back because of course the overlay is heavily bugged. For the Japanese, you don't actually see the upgrades coming on in. If I'm not mistaken, at least eco upgrades. So that would be the reason. Although it looks like it doesn't actually have a lumber camp, so that's also a thing. Looks like Avely looking to group up down in the middle. Very much cavalry-based army. Onimusha added in now, though, as a secondary unit to those Mounted Samurai, Uma Bannerman accompanying too. But the economy for Leozim is just looking absolutely off the charts, right? This is a bit tricky for the Japanese. It's not been able to get too much damage they would have wanted to here at Avely. Back take the engagement. I'm not so sure about this for Avely. He has to back away. And he has to think about an alternative, a way to deal with the crossbows ideally. And we're talking about farming transitions. It might be the case, I mean, sure, Cura Storehouse goes a long way to help with that, but he's going to need more. He's starting to build up units though quite quickly. This is what the Japanese do actually. They really scale really nicely. 20 minutes into the game, this is where they become really powerful. They can really start spamming those units, and you can see it happening already. It's got to do some damage, got to do it fast, because the Rus economy is starting to get out of hand a little bit. Great amount of food coming on in, 1,600 per minute. Not as much on gold actually, but he is thinking about the markets and the trade potentially here, and the traders are starting to come out. 64 gold per trip, which I think Avely should be aware of now. I'm not sure if he spotted that, but... well, he certainly has now. The Knights just poking the head through a little bit, but caught out by the Onimusha. There's a great unit here, but the crossbows can do a lot of damage against them. So he definitely has to be careful. Yep, LX357, that is certainly a lot of Onimusha. But it just feels a little bit awkward, this fight, right? It feels like full crossbow kind of just win. And he's got some meat shield in front of himself as well, the Rus. But we shall see, because he is pumping out a lot here, Avely. Looks like almost he's opting for the Shogunate Castle before too long. 1,200 stone, that's a lot of investment, but you get a lot of return. 70% extra gather rate on those farms. In fact, is it 75 or is it? Yeah, it's 75, would you believe? Looking to get the sacred site, which now Avely will know the army's there. He knows the position. Leozim doesn't really know the position, or he will know now, because he's got a couple of scouts. This is something actually very important that Leozim is doing. Keeping a scout with his army gives him that extra vision. Going to take the engagement on Omusha on the back line. Mounted samurai on the front. There's not much of a front line here, I've got to say, for Leozim. He's having to back away. There's a lot of crossbows. In fact, to be fair, I say that full crossbows will work, but not if you don't have enough numbers. Because they might be surrounded by those mounted samurai, and the Onimusha will get some damage as well. Looking to cut off the knights there with the Onimusha if he can catch up. Doesn't look like he will, getting the wooden fortress on that gold vein. And certainly we're heading to the moment of the game where actually these big tiles of gold is something that both players are going to focus on. They are going to be looking to secure that on up, and the issue for the Japanese, though, they can't get castles until the Imperial Age, so it's a little bit more tricky for them to protect them. Having said that, the Rus don't really have much of a stone income anyway. I was going to go for the high armory in a bit of an exposed spot, actually. That could be devastating if Avely gets on top of that. Still looks a bit tricky, though. Fighting in the choke point, diving in with the cavalry. That's a lot of mounted samurai. If the Onimusha focus on the knights, they could go down really quickly. But in that choke point, it does favour the crossbows trading well. Villagers coming out to get the tech up as quickly as possible. The mounted samurai, that front line has gone down really quickly because of the choke point. Does have a lot of Onimusha, though, that dealt a lot of damage to that front line knight mass for the Rus. Now all of a sudden, he's being pressured, that's for sure. Backing away for now. But it's just range unit versus range unit, and you kind of favour the archers and crossbows. A couple of knights, they're going to be tanking up the ranged attack from the Onimusha, but they are specialists at dealing with knights, of course. They take them down in a blink of an eye. The Imperial Age is in for the Rus, and so we could quite likely see the Imperial Age elite upgrades on, and so that means that Onimusha need to back away. Now, food income is decent for the Japanese, but it's not where it needs to be. If he's thinking for that Imperial Age, he would need to idle his production for at least a minute and a half to get the food he needs. But certainly some cracking engagement so far. Going to start to challenge this gold vein here, which is going to become a... Well, I mean, to be fair, I would say it's going to become a problem, but the Rus have started the trade. So they'll be getting gold for sure. Onimusha, though, they're going to be fighting with a very little front line. The front line has disappeared almost here for Avely. As Onimusha might need to retreat on out of here. He's up against an elite army. Crossbowmen and elite archers, but it's going to take the fight numbers-wise. He's actually doing decent. But he won't want to fight underneath the wooden fortress, that's for sure. Speaking of gold, does have another gold vein here on the west side. It's taking advantage of now. Does have a decent number of traders to trickle in the gold as we speak. And he's slowly but surely getting the eco running. He's looking in a really good spot. Avely got his work cut out of him, for him. I mean, he's got to make sure he keeps pumping units and work them from there. He never added in that second town centre, and he is almost half the economy in terms of villager count at least. Of course, the gather rate on the farms will be spectacular. And climbing, if he does get the Shogunate Castle, but he's not there yet. Alright, Avely, he's almost on his way to the Imperial Age, something that's actually quite great for them. If he does go for the Tanegashima Gunsmith, you'll have access to the Uzutsu, an incredibly strong unit for the Japanese. A great siege unit that can accompany the main army. But we see now transition into crossbows and streltsy. The kind of flagship unit for the Rus is pumping them out. They're going to be making their way forward soon, and it will indeed be the Tanegashima Gunsmith. I'm kind of curious to see when Leozim decides to push, right? Quite often you push when your enemy is just teching up or just teched up, because they've had to invest a lot of resources into it. That could be a good time now for Leozim to think about pushing out. At least if he doesn't now, when he gets the notification that Avely gets to the Imperial Age, I'm fully expecting to see his army move on out, because that full population capacity is beginning upgrades for quite some time. He's got a strong army with a streltsy, and he's got the elite horsemen added into the mix. This could be challenging for the Japanese. We'll be getting the Shogunate Castle at a good time. I've got to say, Japanese are one of the civilizations that are very hard to push fully because of that Shogunate Castle. It does a lot of damage, and they've got some good protection capabilities, although most of it's on the front position, and, well, if this gets taken down, it's going to have to reinvest in more protection buildings at the back. He doesn't really have much in the way of siege though, the Rus, and he's at full population capacity. We'll get a keep on the forward position, maybe looking to get the sacred site as well for the extra gold income, and potentially looking to raid. But the Imperial Age does come in now for the Japanese. He's trying to peel away all the units that he possibly can, and he's immediately queuing up the upgrade to the Honor Bagasha. Interesting, he's going to go for Honor Bagasha. Maybe look at the gap close on those strats. He looks to get another keep. Oh wait, he's just relocating it seems. How's it going, Suleiman? From down under. That's a lot of streltsy fighting in the checkpoint. I mean, I guess the Japanese, if they can afford a mangonel or two, I don't think he's got a siege workshop. And the issue is that all this forward production, any units that pop out, they're going to instantly be targeted by the keep. He's going to get surrounded on the streltsy somewhat, so the samurai dishing out some damage for sure. He might actually be losing this fight. He's fighting underneath the keep here, Avely, so not taking the best trades you'd ever expect. The keep is on flames, so Avely has been able to take it down. He's actually got a reborder coin as well, which could do a lot of damage to infantry, although there's not... I mean, to be fair, he's wiped out a lot of the streltsy already. He's backing away Leozim, coming back again with another force potentially. Got a great economy behind this though, 150 villagers. It's going to look to bank up a lot of resources. The thing is, he doesn't really have that much of a bank of resources up to now, so hasn't been able to do too much with that push, ultimately. He lost the keep position, and it was a good pushback for the Japanese overall. He's got the Bombard, he's got the Zutsu, he's got a rewarder coin as well for good measure. Bear in mind, from the Tanegashima Gunsmith, he's getting 3 units. It's actually an incredibly strong landmark, and now with the Shogunate Castle, that food income is going to skyrocket. On the right side here comes some horsemen. Onimusha could deal some damage against them, but it's going to wait for the Honor Bagasha to dive on in, and that's going to be dicey for those horsemen for sure. They're going to get sniped out pretty quickly. Streltsy making their way through the stealth forest. Wait, what's going on the west side for? It's going to be going for the keep drop on the gold vein. I'm not sure if it ranges the villages there actually. But it could be good staging ground to attack from. He's going to lose a couple of villages here for Leozim, but to be fair, might be doing a bit of a favour. The issue is the food economy. It's not that great for the Rus. It's kind of struggling on that. Plenty of gold coming in because of the trade. It feels like food is really where it's struggling. And considering he has 42 villages on food at the moment, you expect to get more. Of course, the Japanese farming efficiency here looking really good because of the Shogunate Castle. Which is now getting some value, seeing the horsemen diving in a little bit. Honor Bagasha taking the outpost on the east side. Keep should go up on the west side. Avely peeling away those villagers. The question is, where is gold going to be coming in for the Japanese? Does have the gold vein here further closer to home, 4,000, and also one here in the stealth forest, so it's not too bad on that side. On that front of things, but he will need to secure the gold vein in the next 10 to 15 minutes if he can, because otherwise he's going to run out. You know, it's only a single layer of palisades protecting that trade, although as I say that there is a keep too, which certainly helps. So Avely may be looking to target that. 86 military units. Having said that, the efficiency of the Japanese economy is so good that they can get away with a lower village account. He does have... What if he's actually got Yurisha inside forges? Yeah, he's got 2 there. And he has added in that second town center now as well. So we'll be catching up a little bit on the village account, looking to raid the trade, and it's going to do just that with the Onabagation on the west side. Horsemen diving in on the gold villagers, and that's a problem actually, because that's going to be cutting off gold income, and the spearmen good numbers though to deal with that. Yeah, veteran spearman for now, but that's more than enough to deal with those horsemen. He's broken through on the west side, and he's going to steal that gold. Nice play here by the Rus. He's got some good miniature numbers on that side. He's dishing out damage. Going to try and torch down the keep. Does have boiling oil. They're going to get the cannon in placement, but I don't think he's going to get the cannon placement in time. It's probably quite likely that keep just goes down to the Onabagation. That's exactly what happens. And down she goes. Spearman just going to take down the remaining of these horsemen. The Streltsy going to rip through the Onabagation. Managed to get a couple of kills, but overall I think, you know, Leozim will be okay with this. Should be able to just rebuild, and he's going to replace that keep and rebuild the palisades. He loses the horseman on the forward position, but he's got access to the gold. He's actually going to preferentially take this stone. For now, at least. Right, he's moving a bit further forward with the bombards. 3 of them. Take down the outpost pretty quickly. He snipes out the horseman. Nicely done. That's a lot of units for sure. Bombards. Spearmen on a Begatia. They're grouping together. Looks like Avely is going to be saving up for a big push. Here come the Streltsy taking down the outposts. But, I mean, Leozim, with the great economy behind this, is banking up key resources. And if he can take a fight, he'll be able to replace the army pretty quickly. I'll say Avely, though, with the full population capped right now, getting the all-important upgrades to his infantry. Getting the elite upgrade to the samurai as well. And I suspect he's going to push it on in soon. Take shot down in the middle. Lots of Streltsy making their way through. The Onamusha going to spot that. It could take a fight here. And those Streltsy don't really have much of a meat shield in front of it. Horseman on the right side. Split off the army here, the Rus. It's going to get a castle on the right, on the left side here. The Japanese to protect that gold vein. It's something he couldn't do earlier when he was on the castle age, but he's going to get up now, and the Rus don't have anything to challenge that just yet. I tell you what, it's being pushed on the front lines. There is quite a few siege engines there for the Rus. 3 bombards, mangonel, and also a Rebordocrine for good measure. Streltsy there coming on the right side. The issue is there's a lot of infantry for the Avely. I mean, does Leozim actually push this back? That's a lot of units for sure. Coming in with horsemen from the right side as well. And he's going to try and snipe out the siege. That could be a good play actually to try and get them. Going to get one of the mangonels. Does get the shot off though on the Streltsy. Streltsy should pick apart all those spearmen and on a Begatia, but they're still getting the numbers down for sure. And he's pumping in more units, and lots more units coming in for Avely for sure from that front line. I mean, plenty of reinforcements. Streltsy, they're holding that line. Going to retreat to the keep somewhat. And castle is up. Gonna maybe snag as much gold as he possibly can, but a massive shot from the castle. Those villagers won't live for too long. Bombards looking to take down the structures. They're going to do just that. The villager's pushed away from gold. He's trying to get parts of the map that he doesn't necessarily have any right to get. And he's being pushed away from it. Here come militia as well. He's drafted them in here, Bruce, just to make the most of them and thin down the numbers for the Japanese. Bombard's firing away. Going to try and get it keep in the forward position, but if the Bombards focus on that, it could take it down pretty quickly, but there's not a lot protecting the siege. He does take... Wait, did he? He did lose that. The Bombards did fire on it, and he took it out. That was absolutely huge. He lost a lot of stone really quickly there, Leozim. Around the back. Villagers? What's going on here? Villagers going around the back? Possibly looking to get an outpost or two, potentially. Streltsy backing away, but... Another mangonel pops on out. That could do some significant damage. That's that Leozim. Not feeling it. He's backing away for now. Yeah, I was looking to replace those production buildings that he lost earlier on. And making a move for the west side potentially here, Leozim. He's had trade for a long time, right? So gold has been safe and secure. He's got the 8,000 gold vein at the moment. Thanks ZooMT for the recommendation. I'll try and check that out. Sounds good. Sounds good. Looks like Leozim going to try and torch his way through with the horsemen. He does have a couple of bombards, but he's focusing on the castle first, it seems. Breaks through the palisades. Then going to go for the castle, take that down, and then make his way on in. Avely, though, going to come around the back and could potentially take out a lot of the siege engines, actually, if he's not paying attention, Leozim. That castle goes down in a blink of an eye. 2 bombards, 3 mangonels. Here come the units, though. Going to take down the cavalry first and then push on in. Streltsy need to turn and fight. They're on spread formation for now. They're going to protect the siege. They're going to do just that, and the infantry going to dive on in. There's a fight that actually the Honorbrigade could win. It's getting so much damage out of this. Going to take out a lot of the siege. Siege engines are almost pretty much gone here for Leozim. This is not looking good. The Honorbrigade, the samurai, diving on in. Still has a healthy number of Streltsy, but they're having to back away. They can't deploy fully. That's kind of hurting them. Looks like now Avely is going to start to push down in the middle. Got siege engines of his own just after he clears this one up. He might not clear off everything though. The Streltsy are managing to deal with this somewhat. Going through the stealth forest. The samurai trying to keep on up. They're just coming forward to the stone, trying to wrap up everything he possibly can, but does still have a decent amount of stone, a gold rather, on this gold vein. That could be a focus for attack here for Avely. If he can try and do another gold, it will hurt the war efforts for the Rus a little bit. Certainly the trade having been established early. 63 gold per trip. A decent number of traders. Means that gold has been very smooth for the Rus income-wise. He's going to snap out 3 bombards though. Really smart play there, but to get those cavalry on the back line. He takes out the bombards rather. Got a lot of Streltsy. That makes it a little bit tricky for the Japanese to push on through. Does have a couple of the Ozutsu. They're going to start taking down the keep potentially if they can push their way through. It looks like he might just be doing that. Samurai charging on in. Should take out a lot of the springles, takes most of them out, and the trouble is to get rid of the Ozutsu, springles won't really cut it. Does have a mangonel there, the Rus, so should get some good damage output on the samurai if he gets on top of it. He does get a couple of shots off, but the samurai are pretty tanky. Liner Zutsu, he's not diving in too closely just yet. He's starting to stonewall here a little bit. Japanese just trying to close off the map a little bit, and he's doing just that. He's actually sealed off the right side of the map in a big way. There were 2 bombards. He might start to open that up a little bit. 41 minutes on the clock, and I gotta say, it's a cracking game of Age of Empires. It's not entirely clear who's going to win this. I mean, Avely, he was down and out in terms of villager count for a very long time, but he's caught up with that second town center. He's made it so that the early advantage in terms of villager count for Leozim is kind of almost redundant now. He does have the Shogunate Castle, so he's going to have a really, really efficient economy. Now, army composition-wise, 52 Streltsy, a couple of siege engines. I'm not so sure how I feel about that. Like, the Streltsy, if they get surrounded and get closed by the Onabugation, which is so fast, that could be devastating. Going to push down on the middle. Units for the Japanese on the right side. Looking to maybe get a flank around. We've had a lot of that in this game, actually. The highview is a perfect map for that. Because of the stealth forest, it's always a bit difficult to see what's going on. And you could get caught out at times. It's a lot of Streltsy. That'd be hard to deal with. I mean, if you can get some mangonels on top of that, it would be helpful. Here come the Onabugation. Going to torch down the wooden fortress pretty quickly. Probably 3 volleys and he does it. That's exactly what happens. Trying to rush up a keep. This could be dicey. Onabugation don't take long to break on through. He does lose a keep on the forward position, and yeah, he could just raid here heavily. Going on 2 flanks. 2 infantry death balls. He's going to go for the villagers on the keep. It looks like he will, and actually, you know what? Leozim might lose a lot of villagers this way. Sure, he's got the trade up and running, but that keep, I think, won't go up. I mean, no, it will go up in the end, but it's going to lose a lot of villagers in the process. Either way, going to raid on in with the elite samurai down right through the middle, and Avely going to kill a lot of villagers this way. For the first time in a long time, Avely's actually had the villager lead in this game, or the eco lead, and take out a lot of traders as well. Massive amounts of damage coming on in. That was a massive push, and that's the problem, not being totally fully walled up on the middle. Going to dive on in. He's sending the horsemen though. I'm not sure if they can deal well enough with the samurai. Looks like Leozim though is going to push in on himself, and he's got a good few bombards actually. 4 bombards that could take out infrastructure really quickly. Streltsy will be hard to deal with as well, but he does have to deal with the raiding. He's going to use the horsemen to do so with the defender's advantage. The new units popping out to try and take care of those raiders, but there's a lot of samurai involved. We're looking to torch down the keep. He's been doing that all game actually, torching down keeps. The trouble is for Avely, he's going to lose a lot of his production. It's all in the front position. This is an issue, right? He's got a lot of banked up resources, but what good it is resources if you can't spend it, and that might actually be something that hurts him here. Those bombards going to rip through the barracks. At the back, Leozim, he's losing a lot of villagers. Lost 163 so far. That's absolutely huge. And it's being really, really painful with this raid. Avely. Good number of samurai still remain. Having said that, Leozim is dishing out damage as well. Make no mistake about it, he's had to use a lot of the resources he's banked up. He was using a lot of horsemen, not the most effective unit in this regard. Bombards chopping through things now. The great thing for the Rus is that he can continue to produce traders really quickly, so the economy, it's hard for Avely to really raid him to death, right? Because he can continue to pump out units or eco units. The problem for Avely is that it's just 2 town centers and nothing more. And Mangonel gets sniped out for Japanese, and this is looking dicey actually. I'm not so sure Avely has the tools to deal with this. Sure, he had samurai running in his back here, Leozim, but he clears it on up, and the biggest issue is that with the raid that happened here for the Japanese, there wasn't that much structural damage done. You can't say the same here for Leozim and the Rus. When they're pushing, they've got 4 bombards and they're doing all sorts of damage. He's taken down the relic income as well, which is massive. Going to take down the Cura Storehouse afterwards. Could he potentially go for a landmark sniper? It's actually a potential here. The Shogunate Castle will be tricky to take care of though. There's so much HP on this thing. 16,900. And this is not looking good for Avely, I gotta say. The villager count a little bit low for Leozim, but I suspect he's going to be adding traders and villagers behind this. Horsemen are going to dive on in. This could be a clear up, but there's a lot of Streltsy, so I'm not so sure. In that choke point as well, going to be tanking on with the elite horseman, the Roos. It's going to be tough to deal with. Does have a Mangonel though. It gets sniped by the bombards. Mangonels might get another shot off on the Streltsy. Does exactly that. The horseman's starting to overrun a little bit, but we see another influx of Streltsy. That's a lot of horsemen though. Trouble is, the bank of resources for both players, in fact, is actually starting to dwindle. He's losing the siege. Bombards have gone down. He loses the last of them. The Springlord's coming in clutch for the Japanese, and he's going to pick off the rest of the army. Took out a lot here. The Rus have to reset, regroup, and recuperate and recover, and push on in once again. Now bear in mind, Leozim, whilst he lost a lot of villagers, he's making them again. He's making traders. He will recover very quickly. It's going to be hard for the Japanese to really get a death push in. Unless he gets siege. Going to go for the gold again. And no trade set up for the Japanese. So that could be his undoing potentially. Because he's really struggling on gold. And because of that, he's been forced to make a lot of horsemen. Something the Streltsy should deal well with. Now he's getting a couple more Yorishiro, placing it in the production buildings. He will need to actually look to get those relics again though, the Japanese. And these farms, they are looking epic. There's so much food coming in, almost 3,000 food per minute. Almost double what the Rus are getting at the moment. Making a mad dash for the gold veins. I mean, to be fair, Leozim has done a really good job of this, challenging the gold veins wherever he can. Looks like Avely looking to try and challenge the trade once again. We've been there before. And this is the thing, right? With how much trade is up and running and how he can recover very quickly that way. Feels like the only way for the Avely to really win is to try and get a lot of siege and go for a big push for taking out structures as well. Without the siege, it doesn't feel possible. It'd be hard to raid the Rus to death considering the trade that he's got running and how many markets he's got. The same can't be said for the Japanese actually. There's a way that potentially they could be raided to death. We'll see. Leozim tries to do that. It does have siege of his own, to be fair, anyway, with rams. Looks like he's saving up here to get full population and then to move on out. Horsemen going to go raiding as much as they possibly can. Does snipe out a couple of villagers on the farms, peels off another batch of 5 around the back. And has actually managed to decap the sacred site on the west side. And get plenty of stone. He's got a lot of stone in the bank actually. So could potentially look to get some castles, maybe some stone walls, we'll have to see. Horseman diving around the back, and that's a lot of siege that Avely's got. A lot of springords. He's not happy about the bombards last time. He's got the tools to deal with it, but does he have the tools to deal with this number of Streltsy? That's the big question. He's getting the Mangonel upgrades, which will certainly help. The adjustable crossbars. Increasing the attack speed by 25%. Not too shabby. Kind of needs it against this mass, and he does have a couple of Mangonels actually. So could potentially deploy in this choke point, but Horseman going to dive on in, and there's not much of a meat shield protecting. This could be devastating. Does get a good few shots though. The Streltsy being a little bit greedy with their approach. Does go in for scatter formation now, but and the Spearman should be able to help it. He loses a couple of siege engines for sure. Mangonel's still alive. Going to try and get a 1-0, but obviously won't get chief. Oh wait, he'll get a couple of Spearmen maybe. Maybe. No, he doesn't in the end. He gets sniped. He's diving on in. Avely's village account is still very healthy, but it's got a lot of rams, and warrior monks are teasing now with those relics. Rather than going back home, he's teasing. Around the back, samurai raiding again, but there are 2 keeps. That's going to be hard to push on that position. He's struggling on military count for sure here, Avely. Not looking good. Might snipe a villager. No, he kills it. Or it goes into the curious storehouse as well. And he's using key structures here. Avely, he is struggling. Villagers, are they going back onto gold? It looks like it. There they are. There's even a knight here, an elite knight for the roost. Great play, great idea to just keep a unit there just in case. Leozim playing this incredibly well. Coming in with the rams, this could be devastating. Is there a way for Avely to defend and stop this? He's still got a decent population count, I've got to say. Just not enough military, you feel. Villagers coming back home. He's going to lose his Curio storehouse. He does. Got 2 mangonels. Could see some big shots here potentially. Does get some shots on the Streltsy, but they managed to tank a lot. And he's going to lose 2 mangonels pretty quickly. Does get another shot off though before it does go down. And now it's to deal with the Shogunate Castle. Villagers coming out to torch down, and the Shogunate Castle does have a lot of HP, so I think he will take down the rams. Mangonel deploys once again. I think Avely, is he holding? No, maybe not. There's so many units coming forward here for the roost. It's trickling on in and getting good value because of it. This army looks way too difficult. Oh, with the Reborder, he does lose 1. Does get the shot off. But he's not too clumped together. He's now the Streltsy sniper. Of course, got the range damage, and that's something that the Reborder actually struggle with. Overall, equal villager count. 100 for Avely, about 100 there for Leozim. Mangonel deploys on the Streltsy, but doesn't really take too much HP off, and he's having to defend with his life here, Avely. And to be fair, the Shogunate Castle is rocking and rolling. Those farms are still operational. That means a lot of food. It's getting a lot of gold as well, again, being mined off. And the trouble is that won't last forever. He's actually got a lot of food and gold here, Avely. So if you can re-establish the production capabilities once again, it will take time, but if you get the production buildings up, you can pump out army. He's got to do it quick. Looks like he will be relocating that relic after all. Leozim does have a window of opportunity though to push on in. He's done a lot of damage. And he needs to keep doing it. Because at the moment, the village count relatively similar. That means Avely's not out of this game yet. There's a couple of elite knights going to check on the trade. Quite a few villagers there on stone, trying to get a keep, but I mean, these knights will do a lot of damage before the castle goes up. I think the castle probably should go up, but he might lose a lot of villagers doing this, and we'll check on that just a moment, because Leozim is pushing down on the middle with Streltsy and Siege. But Avely, he's getting prepared. Oh, this is looking devastating. He might lose all of the villagers. Okay, the keep goes up, so he won't lose everything, but he's going to lose a lot. He's lost 216 villagers already. Streltsy, they're firing off as much as they possibly can. Man-at-Arms attacking that front line there for the roost, but there's a lot of samurai, and if the samurai chew through the front line, they're going to start getting onto the Streltsy. He's got a couple of springles there, Avely, so picks off some siege engines for sure. And all of a sudden, Leozim is kind of struggling. There's not much of a mass in front of the Streltsy. The samurai might overrun. He's down to 77 villagers though here, Avely. The big thing is though that will allow him to make a really cracking army with good numbers, of course. He's got plenty of resources banked up, struggling on the gold somewhat. That's the only thing that's hurting him here. Samurai charging on. He's not microing the Streltsy, he's not pulling them back, and so he's going to lose a couple. 62 military, defender's advantage definitely working wonders here for the Japanese. And it looks like he will lose the Streltsy mass. That's a problem for Leozim. This Despite being down to 75 villagers, he's still looking strong in terms of village count. Could be Avely's turn to push now, actually. And if it does, this could be a perfect time to do it. "56 minutes on the clock. It's been a banger of a game, and still no idea who's going to win it. I mean, Leozim does have a greater economy, at least in terms of numbers. But Avely, it's got a lot of military, and that's what wins games after all. But I am curious to see when Avely looks to decide to push on out. It looks like he's setting up trade as well as we speak. Bombards starting to fire off. Horsemen tanking that front line with man-at-arms. Less Streltsy now, though. Only 15 of them. Not quite the army it used to be, and Avely might be pushing on out. This could be an overshoot for Leozim. Doesn't quite have enough here. The Springald's getting involved. The Springald should be able to snipe out Bombards, and this is not looking good at all for Leozim. Question is, will be able to replace the army or not? He's throwing away a lot of horsemen. Premium units out for Avely. Got to say, the hand cannoneers and also the samurai. Yeah, that is looking a really deadly combination. I'm not so sure Leozim has enough here. After some great pushes, he's starting to be pushed back quite heavily from samurai and hand cannoneers alike. Rams are going down, and that push is stalled out massively. Could this be Avely's time to push on out and do damage? It could be, and could he come back from a disastrous position? All his production buildings were going down. He lost 217 villages already in the game. Can he still win this? He's got a lot of army, and it's a death push. I mean, if he gets a couple of Ozutsu added into this, this could be problematic. But for now, it's mostly just hand cannoneers, samurai, and spearmen. There's such a strong army. A lot of it being melee as well means that they can get their torches out against buildings if they do dive on in. 106 military versus 43. This could be dicey for the Rus. I'm not sure he's anticipated this. And ultimately, Leozim would have to kill villagers. They'd have to kill traders, right? To be able to survive this. I'm not so sure. We're going to try and survive with limited numbers. Samurai tanking in. And cannoneers behind them. It's going to lose everything potentially here. This is not looking good here for the Rus. They're losing a lot of the military. Hand cannoneers sniping out horsemen. A couple of horsemen coming in from the back, but they're not getting close enough. Hand cannoneers switch their attention to them. Is diving in with a couple of spearmen and samurai. The Japanese are starting to overrun. There's only 18 military for Leozim. He's going to really struggle. I mean, how does he stop this? He's got plenty. I wouldn't say plenty. He's got a decent amount of banked up resources. The trouble is he can't keep up production. And because of it, he's starting to be overrun. The army pushing on in. There's siege as well. And he's torching everything down. The raid is not going to get too much value out of this. Shogunate Castle, of course, in the base for the Japanese. And it's going to torch everything down. Leozim, he's on the back ropes. I mean, after all that aggression, after all that pressure, slowly but surely he's being pushed out. I mean, he does have a couple of mangonels that could turn this fight, but he's going to have to keep it well protected if he can. The trouble is, there's Springolds, right? That's the issue. The Springolds will snipe it. This is a good push by Avely. Good mangonel shots though on the hand cannoneers. Not enough to take them out, but takes a lot of HP on them. I don't know if we see any traders just yet. Nope, no traders. I was thinking about it, but with such a strong push, you may not need it. 105 military. He's letting him breathe though a little bit. I'm not so sure that's a good idea to let the Rus breathe in this situation. And the walls are slowly and surely going up. Avely carving up the map. And again, this is a fight that the samurai just will straight up win. Just by sheer numbers. Although, having said that, Streltsy getting involved, that could turn it a little bit. We shall see, but he's going to lose the fight in the forward position. That's a lot of hand cannoneers. Yeah, there's not enough samurai to gap close. The Streltsy will win that fight overall. He might trade off here. It looks like this is exactly what's going to happen. And I wonder, will Avely push in once again? Because He's got a lot of military. Feels like he's got to, right? He's quite behind on economy. If he doesn't move in soon, he might start to be outscaled, but he's going to make sure he gets stone walls before he moves out, just so make sure he doesn't get raided. Takes out the remainder of the samurai, unfortunately for them. Stone walls are more or less all up. Trying to deny the gold vein somewhat. There's still 5,600 gold in this. It's absolutely huge. Pushing away the ram. Leozim coming through down the middle, but he's got to contest against the stone walls and that choke point, which would actually favour the mangonels in some ways. Streltsy. They're starting to fire off, and Samurai trying to get gap close on the Streltsy and on the siege. That's the problem, right? Does Avely go for the siege or does he go for the infantry? It looks like he's going to go for the infantry for now, but there's not a lot here for Avely. There's a lot of siege out here for Leozim rather. Trying to complete the walls. It might not happen. Going to get a keep in that position. That's a nice play. Mangonel shoots off on the walls. Not fully built, of course, so it does take damage. Even from melee units. He's climbing up again though, village count Avely. Securing it, solidifying. He's recovering. He's breached the walls once again. The Roos is going to dive on in with the horsemen, trying to get raids in, but at this point he's not been able to achieve too much already. Not sure how much will change with only a handful of horses. Those horsemen can try their best for the Roos. And cannoneers though in really great numbers. Avely, he's quite happy to just defend this position in front of the castle, and this is going to be almost impossible now for Leozim to push on in this position, unless he gets bombards. He does have 3. Stone walls would be a bit tricky to navigate this though, especially with the spring walls itching further forward. Potentially about to dive on in here. Good number of bombards working on the castle. Soon enough, at least, I would have thought. Gonna dive in with the horsemen. Streltsy numbers looking good. Avely, he's being pushed once again, and I don't know, will he be able to recover again for a second time in the game or not if this does happen? Bombards working on the castle. That's a lot of units coming out. Lots of hand cannoneers, a couple of springles as well. So if you can take down the bombards, this could work out really well for Avely if he keeps the castle alive as well. I'm not so sure he will because it is on flames. The question is, will Leozim push on forward further? Because if he does, it could be a trap. Again, about to deploy. It does deploy. Get some good shots off of the Streltsy. He's backing away, line formation. Oh, Samurai on the wood line. Going to get some really nice pickings there. Avely looking at a very healthy population count. Trying to snipe one bombard. Doesn't quite manage it just yet. And this is not looking good enough for Avely down in the middle. He could struggle. Here come the hand cannoneers though, to clean on up. Great unit for the Japanese for sure. Great unit in Age of Empires 4 overall. And he's having to rely on horsemen. This is a problem for Leozim. Like, despite the trade, he's struggling on gold and he's going to lose that front line if he's not careful. Spearmen more than adequate to deal with this. Samurai taking yet more villages. Yeah, he's really raiding everywhere. Avely just dodging the mangonel shots for now. Whilst potentially goes for springles, we have to see. He's certainly going to rebuild his infrastructure. Leozim could be exposed here on the west side. Wood already all gone. Looking to breach the walls, but maybe he might have another idea. Villagers slaughtered on that wood line. Slowly but surely making an inroad on the west side, trying to catch the Japanese unawares. Horsemen are going to get some raiding value. Rounds making their way forward as well. This could be a death push, actually. Oh, wait. Wait, what? These villagers. Is he going to try and go for the siege? Quite possibly he is. Torches are out. He's going to go for the mangonels. Should get them, actually, after all. All things considered. Or maybe not. He loses so much HP. And he doesn't get a single one of them. That's massive. Villagers sacrificed there for Avely. That's insane. Thanks for the raid there, Jones. Appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream. Welcome on in, guys. Catching in this crazy game. It's already been an hour and a half. Well, I was about to say an hour and a half, but an hour and 6 minutes. That's pretty hefty. And for the second time in the game, looks like Avely will look... I mean, he could lose the infrastructure there, right? Surely. Well, this is not going to be ideal. Could lose a lot of samurai for free. Does have the boiling oil upgrade there, Leozim. He's diving on in. He's causing all sorts of pressure. Speaking of which, maybe Avely can take out the trade with that army. He's been caught out a little bit. He has to make a decision. Does he be aggressive or does he pull the army back and hopefully hope that he survives at the back? 3 rounds remain. Nothing torching them down, although there are a couple of springles focusing on that. Mangonel deploys. Spread formation out for the Streltsy though. Does still take out a good few hits. He's going to go for the bombards. This could be huge. If the bombards go down, that's a massive siege push that's going to be denied. Oh, the bombard's still alive. No, it's not. It goes down. Still a couple of rams. They may be hacked and slashed by the samurai, and looks like maybe he might live to fight another day here, Avely. He's down to 78 villagers. As I say that, 4 mangonels popping forward. Although samurai might pick off a couple coming in from the retreat from the back. He's trying to break through way through on the right side. It's been an expensive fight so far down in the middle. But dare I say, it feels like the Japanese should win this because it's got defender's advantage, right? All these units popping out. Just by sheer numbers of units, it should win it. And he's pushing it out. Looks like the samurai going to go for the markets first and deny the trade. That could be massive. Does still have 1,500 gold in the bank, but this still certainly helps. He's also got Zutsu sniping at trade whilst he can. Rams working well, although the Rams are starting to dwindle a little bit. Only 4 remaining. Make that 3, soon to be 2. Look to take down the keep. That's the big thing, right? He's taking down the trade, and that's massive. If he can cut off gold for the roost, that's a big thing for sure, as much as he possibly can. Of course, he's getting gold from the hunting cabins as well, and also the high trade house, but can't deny everything, I guess. He's losing a lot of production here, Avely. Now's go time. He needs to replace these as well. Got Honor Geisha. In fact, are they? Yeah, there are a couple, I think. Yeah, there are. I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, actually. Hard to tell sometimes with the armor. He's going to snipe out one of the bombards potentially. No, not yet. There's a lot of Streltsy. He whipped through a couple, but it's chasing on them now. Down to 40 military. This is not ideal. On the right side, he's broken through. The Azut's going to work in, and he might even take out the hunting cabins. That could be huge because there's going to be no close drop-off points to those farms. That could be devastating. It's quite likely he loses a bombard or 2 as well. Yeah, just like that, everything that passes through is going to torch and destroy. Loses 1 bombard. Streltsy deploy. Goes spread formation, trying to creep on through. He's going to preferentially go for the siege, it seems, with the spearman. Does take out another siege engine. Now looking to take a mangonel. He should get it. Maybe even looking to take the bomb, but he does take out the bomb and takes out all the siege. Avely's still down to 91 economy. But the military is what wins the fights and wins games, and he's got that in abundance. Looks like Leozim going to be struggling on gold in that gold vein. And if he can take out more traders, he's going to struggle on gold, full stop. And there it is. It just became too much. He's starting to be overrun and it just didn't feel like there was a way back for the Rus. And, well, he recognizes it as well. And he taps out. Great game of Age of Empires 4. A cracking one. Somehow, Avely comes back into it from a seemingly down and out position. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Take care and see you next time.